Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vasishyate. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shrutis Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Continuing with the living in the present. So, first factor that we saw that deprives us from living in the present is the influence of the past. That past takes over, or the past dominates the present, and therefore we are swept in the past and are not able to live in the present. Two factors that we discussed are the hurt and the guilt. Hurt is when in my perception someone did something which was unfair to me, unjust to me, not proper to me. Then I feel hurt. And guilt is the opposite of that, when again in my perception I did to somebody which was not right, which was not fair, then I have a sense of guilt. When ego is there, a sense of individuality is there, one of the two things will keep on arising. So hurt and guilt is a common experience that we go through. As I said, that we do not right away deal with it. And therefore, very often, they pile up in our mind. Then they cause anxiety, they cause sadness. So thus, hurt and guilt become the causes of sadness, grief, anxiety, even depression. Swami, what should we do about them? As we said, that if there is a stain on my cloth, how I clean it right away with a detergent, preferably. Similarly, when we find that there is a stain of hurt or guilt on the fabric of my mind, I should be alert, vigilant, and should be right away removing that with a detergent. What is the detergent in this case? That is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. Bhavana means a stand or a position or a standpoint. Or actually, Bhavana is attitude. Paksha is the standpoint. Prati is the opposite standpoint. Opposite. the attitude of deliberately assuming the opposite standpoint. Because whenever a feeling arises in us, I keep on saying, in my perception, he did something. In my perception, I did something. It is all the time my perception, which arises on account of taking a certain standpoint. So it is my standpoint that this person has deliberately insulted me, deliberately humiliated me, deliberately treated me in a manner which is not fair, because the same person is seen to be treating others in a certain way. And when it comes to me, I feel that the person is not fair, is discriminating. My perception. So it is the improper behavior of some, hurtful behavior of someone, insulting behavior, humiliating behavior, hurtful behavior of someone, which is what causes hurt in me. So how do I deal with this? A two-step response. That instead of simply responding or drawing conclusion that this person has hurt me is my conclusion, understand? But Swami is very obvious, he has insulted me. He has humiliated me. How can you say it is my conclusion? But the point is, who has humiliated me? Who has insulted me? That person. Who is that person? A one-step response would be to blame that person for what the behavior is and then draw the conclusion. A two-step response would be to see the person behind the behavior. That behavior is angry, behavior is aggressive, behavior is humiliating, behavior is insulting. But who is the person who is doing this? Then we will find that the person who is hurting me is a person who is hurt himself or herself. It is a person in pain, a person who is hurt, a person who is perhaps humiliated by others, a person who is perhaps insulted by others, humiliated by others, a person to whom pain has been caused by others, and therefore that person himself or herself is in pain on account of the experiences that that person has gone through. It is that person in pain is what is causing pain to me. A happy person can never cause pain to anybody. If you look at our own behavior, we will find when we get angry, when we insult others, when we humiliate others, etc., we will find that at that time my mind is experiencing some pain. That when I am in pain, that I cause pain to others by my words, by my behavior, by my body language, in any way. So one rule is that only a person who is in pain can cause pain to others. A happy person can never cause pain to others, just as when we are happy, we cannot cause pain to somebody. When we are happy, we cannot get angry. If right now I invite you and ask you, please get angry at me. Please get angry. Please, insult me. You cannot do that. We cannot deliberately get angry, we cannot deliberately insult, we cannot deliberately act in a hurtful manner. It is when some pain takes over us that we find ourselves behaving in a certain way. Meaning that we will observe about our own self that when we find ourselves insulting someone, it is out of helplessness that I am doing and not out of willingness. Nobody can willingly cause pain to others because we love to please others, really. We love to make people happy. We love to be kind. That is our nature. We do not love to be cruel. In fact, we do not like a cruel self. I do not like myself when I find myself that I was cruel in a given situation. I like myself when I am kind or when I am loving. So if I love myself when I am kind, then why am I cruel? Which is because I am not myself. It's something that takes over me and against my will makes me act in a cruel manner. Arjuna asks of Lord Krishna, what is it that compels a person to commit a sin or behave in an unbecoming manner, which we later on regret? We invariably regret when we have acted in a hurtful manner to others. Why do we regret? Because the person who hurt is not the person who is regretting. Understand this. When I repent or when I regret my past behavior, I who is regretting is different from the one who actually behaved. Understand that. I was not there that time. It is some kind of an impulse that took over me and compelled me to act in a certain manner. So understand that by nature we are kind, loving, compassionate beings, without exception. It is out of some compulsion that we become cruel, we become angry, we become unkind, we become, hurtful. That's not our true self. That is a self which is under compulsion of some impulses of the past. Now, this will become clear to us when we observe our own self. Next time when we find ourselves angry, and we will later on review our own behavior, we'll find that some impulse took over me, some ghost took over me. Kamesha, Krodesha. Lord Krishna says Kama, Krodha, Lobha. The lust, anger, greed, these are the evils, the devils that are living in me. The demons, so they got demoniac tendencies. When these demons take over me, then my behavior becomes demoniac behavior, which I later on regret, which means that I also could see that that was not my true self. Why did I do that? Kimaham sadhuna karavam, kimaham papam karavamiti. In the Upanishad it is said. A person repents. Kimaham sadhuna karavam. Why did I fail to perform that good action? When somebody comes before me seeking help, seeking charity, and then we restrain, we don't do that. Something within me, some greedy self prevents me from being generous. So it is some demoniac quality or tendency that takes hold of me and prevents me from being my natural self. If my natural self, I would be a kind person, no question about it. There is nobody in the world who is cruel by nature. What Swamiji was fond of saying, there is no such entity as a criminal. Because by nature, nobody is criminal. By compulsion, a person is criminal. By compulsion, a person is angry. By compulsion, a person is jealous. By compulsion, a person is aggressive, hurtful. Something compels. Anichanyeva varshneva baladiva niyojitaha. Arjuna says to Lord Krishna, what is it within me that compels me to act against my own values, against my own nature? So whenever we see a person acting in an unbecoming manner, we should know that is helplessness and not deliberately. Meaning deliberately a person cannot be a cruel person. You cannot be deliberately angry. You try, you won't be. You try to be deliberately cruel, won't be? No, Swamiji, there are people who are hitmen. They are deliberately cruel. They carry out premeditated acts of violence. All we can say about them is that they have devolved so much that there are no more human beings. Therefore, they have lost their sensitivity. So they do not become any examples. Understand that it has taken millions of years to evolve as human beings from a unicellular organism. In between, I guess, this organism passed through a variety of stages of cats and dogs and monkeys, etc. That's what they say. We did not become a monkey, by the way. This is wrong to say that we were monkey before and now we... That's not so, as I understand. In the chain of evolution, a point came where human being and monkeys were at the same point. These fellows branched out to become monkeys, we branched out to become humans. Not that we became a monkey and then became human, that's not so, by the way. But we were at a point where monkeys also were, and you could have branched out anyway. This natural selection would have taken any course. But true, that there was a point where we were, where cats were there. There was a point when we were, the dogs were there. Then they became dogs and we became this way. Meaning that all this stuff is there within ourselves, in our genes. Sometimes it comes out, and then that's how. But we evolved. Suppose we keep on performing acts of violence for whatever reason. A time comes when we lose that sensitivity and we go back to that point. We devolve to that point where monkey was, devolve to a point where a cat was. Now there is a difference between cat and ourselves. As human beings, we are sensitive people. It is not only that we expect other people to be kind to us, but we are also conscious that other people also expect us to be kind to them. That is the reason why whenever we act in an unkind manner, then we know that we have done something wrong, because this is what is expected of me and I acted in a manner contrary to that. So there is a guilt. Only human beings have guilt. Do you think cat has a guilt? A cat sees a mouse and makes it its breakfast. You think there is a guilt? If cats have guilt, they can never sleep. They can never survive. Really, they'll commit suicide. You know what it means? It means that to have guilt is a sign of evolution. Those other creatures have no sense of guilt because they have not yet evolved to have the sensitivity That just as I want to live, the mouse also wants to live. That sensitivity cat does not have. Therefore, without any guilt, it can make it breakfast. If the guilt was there, this universe could not run. That is why God has not put any guilt in them, because that's why one life depends upon the other life, and that's how the chain goes on. No guilt. But human being is different. Human beings marked out for moksha, for evolution, for true happiness, and therefore the guilt is a mark of evolution. Although it is cause of pain, hurt is a mark of evolution. It is cause of pain, and therefore no other creatures of pain like human being has. Human being is the most miserable creature. It is the most evolved creature, at the same time the most miserable creature. But we cannot go back to become a buffalo. We have to only grow up. But understand that hurt and guilt are there within us for us to grow, to become bigger than what we are. We are not big enough, therefore we felt hurt. Now I should become bigger than what I am by looking at the person behind the behavior. That even though the behavior of the person is very hurtful, the person himself or herself is hurt. And therefore, out of helplessness, they have acted in this manner. Nobody deliberately wants to be cruel or hurtful. It is out of compulsion, out of helplessness. That means that all the evil behavior on the part of the people shows their helplessness. Although generally it is looked upon as a sign of strength that a person is dominating, aggressive, hurtful. He's a strong person. On the other hand, he is a weak person. To be kind is a sign of strength, and to be cruel is a sign of weakness. To be angry is a sign of weakness. To be compassionate or forgiving is a sign of strength. So, what comes out is weakness and vulnerability of the people, the helplessness of the people. We don't have to respond in the same manner. So if we take a step back and recognize that even though the person is outwardly aggressive, inwardly it is fearful and helpless. Only a fearful person becomes aggressive. A fearless person has no need to be aggressive. No need to hurt anybody. Insecurity, fear, this is what causes people to act the way they do. If you see this, see the person behind the behavior. That's called a two-step response. Then a sympathy will arise from me. If I look at the aggressive behavior, anger will arise from me. But if I see a helpless person behind that behavior, then sympathy will arise from me. You see the difference? Then my response would be a sympathetic response. That will surprise that person, perhaps. But it will not be tit for tat. And thus, in order to become free from sense of hurt, kshama or forgiveness is a means of forgiving people. Understand, forgiving is not obliging people. Forgiveness is something that arises out of a genuine sympathy for that person. Oh, I forgive you. No, that's all lip service. The real forgiveness is there when there is sympathy in my heart. Sympathy for that. How can you have sympathy for this person? Not for the person who is outwardly there, person who is inside there, who is in pain, who is hurt. So hurt can be dealt with by kshama or forgiveness. And we have to do this. When we grow up, we went through many experiences when we were hurt. As children, we are not able to retaliate, and therefore we have to swallow a number of times, we have to swallow our pride, and so lot of hurt is there. We have resentment for many people. People grow with lot of anger and resentment depending on what kind of childhood they had. Everybody's, in varying degrees, we have that. You are fortunate and have a loving childhood, very little hurt may be there. But otherwise, varying degrees of resentment is there, anger is there in our mind. And this is what causes sadness. This is what causes all the obstacles in contemplation, meditation, etc. So we have to take one by one every case, go back in the past, and look at the past and see what that person did to me. And I am right now holding and entertaining resentment or anger towards that person. Let me bring that person in my mind. Let me bring a given behavior in my mind and see how I felt hurt because of the behavior of that person. Let us apply this method of the person behind the behavior. The behavior makes me angry. The behavior creates resentment in me. If I like the person behind the behavior, that anger, resentment will resolve. We have to do this. All the hurt of the past have to be dealt with in this manner, by kshama, by genuine forgiveness that arises from sympathy when I look at the person behind the behavior. What about guilt? Guilt is the opposite of hurt. I cause hurt to somebody. I should be sympathetic to myself. So that is very convenient. That means what? You are simply whitewashing your offenses? Not really. I also deserve my sympathy. I should be kind. The guilt is because I am not kind to myself. Because I brand myself as an angry person, as an aggressive person, as a hurtful person. That's how I branded myself. That's why I felt guilty. But now I am in a position similar to that fellow who caused hurt to me. When I cause hurt to others, I am in a similar position. I am also helpless. It is some pain within me that causes me to behave in a hurtful behavior. That makes me angry. That makes me jealous. That makes me aggressive. Some pain, some hurt within me that makes me act in a certain way. Meaning that when I caused hurt to somebody, I was helpless. See this fact, not just repeat it. See how, so recollect an occasion, an event or episode when I hurt somebody. I said something which was hurtful. Bring back to the mind. See, why did I do that? Because I got angry. Why did I get angry? Because there was some pain, something within me that made me angry. It has to be. So when I see my own pain, then I can also discover a sympathy for myself, and there can be kshama or forgiveness for myself. So hurt is dealt with by kshama or forgiveness towards others, which comes from a genuine sympathy by seeing the person behind the behavior. And the guilt, which is a result of my causing hurt to someone, is resolved by discovering a sympathy for my own, by forgiving myself, by discovering a sympathy for myself that I was helpless at that time when I got angry, when I was jealous, when I was mean. All of that was because of some pain. What is that pain? Try to see what pain it is. But it has to be some pain. And therefore, I also have to be kind to myself, forgiving to myself. Genuine forgiveness, not lip service. That way I can deal with the guilt. Hurt, I deal with by genuinely forgiving those who cause hurt to me, and guilt, I deal with by genuinely forgiving myself who caused hurt to somebody else. That's how the past. For living in the present, we have to resolve all the factors in the past that deprive me from the benefit of the present. Present is beautiful. It's perfect. Then future also takes over our mind. Anxieties and fears of the future. Because there is uncertainty in our life. We do not know what will happen next moment. We are not granted that knowledge. Meaning that future is uncertain. And very often the mind has a habit of creating the worst case scenario. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? So because future is uncertain, because I cannot control the future, there is this anxiety, what will happen? Why is anxiety? Because I am not willing to confront the unpleasant. I always want pleasant things to happen to me, and I am not willing to confront the unpleasant. Our Swami used to say, we should teach our children that unpleasantness also is a reality of life. Failure also is a reality of life. Unpleasantness also is a reality of life. And therefore, how do we deal with the anxieties about the future? By becoming willing to accept the future as it comes. It's called prasad buddhi. Call it future or call it karma phala, the result of our actions. What is future? Future will be the result of the actions performed in the past. So what we call future is nothing but the karma phala, or the result of our own action. We don't know what it will be. But Swami, I have not done anything to deserve this. Why should this happen to me? Swami, my mother has lived a pious life, whole her life, and why should this suffering come to her? So unfortunately, we do not have answer to the question as to why there is pain in our life. A simple answer is the karma, that I must have done something in the past so that this comes to me in present. But that answer does not satisfy most people. But that doesn't remove pain. All right, some karma was performed, but what I have to deal with what is, that doesn't deal with the pain. So unwillingness to accept the pain, unwillingness to accept the unpleasant, unwillingness to accept what I dislike, unwillingness to accept failure, unwillingness to accept pain, unwillingness to accept unpleasant. You are unwilling. That's what causes anxiety. If you are ready to accept what comes, there will be no anxiety. You follow? No fear, no anxiety if we are ready to accept what comes. So Lord Krishna says, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Your freedom as far as the effort is concerned, you know freedom as far as the outcome is concerned. Future is what? The outcome of the actions performed in the past. which I cannot control. So what should be my attitude towards what I cannot control? Effort I can control, the outcome I cannot control. Future would be the outcome of what has been done in the past. The present also becomes past. Lord Krishna says, accept it gracefully. A graceful acceptance of what comes. Lord Krishna teaches that to Arjuna. That before you engage in the battle, prepare your mind with this attitude. What is it? Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddha yujyasva nevam papam avapsase. Arjuna, there will be no sin, there will be no problem. If you are ready to accept the outcome as it comes. Jaya Jayo, Jaya means victory, Ajaya means defeat. If Arjuna, you are willing to accept gracefully the victory and defeat, how can you accept defeat, Swamiji? Victory I can accept, defeat how can I accept? Because victory also is not your doing and defeat also is not your doing. What do you mean not your doing? I did something. All you're doing is your action. Outcome is not your doing. That's what Lord Krishna teaches. Ma phaleshu kadachana. You do not have control over what the phala or the outcome is going to be because you don't control, you don't call all the shots. There are so many variables which are not in your control. So future is something that we do not control. Karma phala is something that we do not control. What should be our attitude towards what we do not control? Graceful acceptance. What is graceful acceptance? Something that is given to me by God, by Ishvara, by Karma Phaladata, by the one who dispenses the results of the action. But Swami, what kind of God is he? Why is he giving me pain? Why should he give me failure? Why should he create unpleasant situations for me? You say God is kind, and why does he loves me? Why does he do this? Would you give a slap to somebody whom you love? Would you? Never? Suppose that person is intoxicated. The only way you can wake up that person is by, would you give a slap or not? Would that slap be an act of love or cruelty? So sometimes you have to be cruel in order to be kind, is it not so? So very often we find that God, Ishvara, is cruel to us. But maybe that cruelty is for some kind of kindness which we do not know. That's called Shraddha. Shraddha means giving the benefit of the doubt. Give the benefit of doubt to Ishvara that he means well. And whatever he does for my well-being because he is my well-wisher. Not easy. Shraddha is not easy. Our Shraddha, trust remains as long as things go the way we want them to go. When things start going topsy-turvy, then our Shraddha gets shaken up. Understandable. Because we think that pain is a wrong thing to have. Failure is a wrong thing to have. This is our conclusion. Isn't it? Success is right, failure is wrong. Pleasure is right, pain is wrong. This has been our conclusion, and therefore we brand failure as something wrong because we have concluded failure means wrong. How do you know that? How do you know that this failure does not become the basis of some future success? How do we know? How do you know that this pain has come to me for my growth? Because the formula says no pain, no gain. There cannot be growth without pain. A sculptor, when he's sculpting a rough and tough stone, and then it causes a lot of pain, that stone, by chipping away the unnecessary portions with his chisel and hammer, and he does it mercilessly. A carpenter, merciless, But at the end, they bring out a very beautiful form from that stone. So Ishvara also may look merciless and hitting us with his hammer and chisel. But it is possible that maybe that is his way of shaping us. That is his way of enabling us to grow. We do not know. It can be either way. We don't know. When we do not know, then the best policy is to give benefit of doubt to Ishvara. You can either brand him as cruel or you can brand him as kind. Both possibilities are there. Then why not brand him as kind? Why should Ishvara want to punish me? I'm going to punish you. Who will punish? Only a small, insignificant fellow will punish. Insecure person will punish. A secure, complete being will never punish. Because nothing to gain out of punishing somebody. He can only shower his grace. Ishvara, being who he is complete. There's no lack, no want, no desire. So he cannot but shower his grace. Except that grace may come in different forms. As the Swami would say, prasada is of different tastes. Sometimes it is sweet, sometimes sour, sometimes bitter. I know that this is easier said than done. I know that. This is a tough part. To be able to maintain a balance of mind and Shraddha in Ishvara, in spite of painful things happening in our life, it is very difficult. But suppose you don't do that, then what will you do? You will hate Ishvara, so what will you get anyway? The conclusion can be Ishvara is unfair. Suppose that conclusion, what satisfaction will it give you anyway? Then what is the refuge left in the life? So the future, uncertainties of the future, which normally cause anxieties and worries, because of our unwillingness to accept the realities of life, can be resolved by a willingness to gracefully accept the realities. And that pain also is a reality of an unpleasant reality of life. And therefore, I'm not saying that we should invite pain. I'm not saying that at all. We should avoid pain, no, as much as we can, no doubt about that. But then there is a limit, because we don't control all the shots. So this can be dealt with by Shraddha in Ishvara. Without Ishvara, we cannot become free from anxieties. By taking refuge at the feet of the Lord, that He is my protector and that He will take care of me. And I am willing to accept gracefully whatever He does to me. The extent to which we have this attitude, to that extent we can remain free from anxieties about the future. So past, hurts and guilts. Future, worries and anxieties. Even the present also is a problem. Because we are not in the present. They say there are two kinds of creations. One is called Ishvara Srushti, other is called Jiva Srushti. What is Ishvara Srushti? Creation of Ishvara, creation of Lord, which we see around ourselves. Other is called Jiva Sushti, meaning creation of the individual projections. We do not live in the world as created by Ishvara, but when we live in our own private world of raga and dvesha, which are the outcome of this ego or aham. Because of my insecurities, because of ignorance, there is a sense of ego or individuality. Therefore, there is a sense of smallness or insignificance, and therefore inadequacy, therefore fear and insecurity, and therefore raga and dvesha. Whoever appears to be the one who will help me in my fear and insecurity, in fulfilling my needs, for that one there is raga or attachment. Then I become dependent upon that person. Whoever is perceived to be opposite of that, there is dvesha or aversion. So as far as the present is concerned, I do not deal with what I come across as it is, but then I seem to always look at it from the glasses of attachments and aversion. Therefore, I am not in the present, even in the present. I am in my own subjective world of raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. And therefore, we deal with those. So, hurt and guilt from the past, fears and anxieties of the future, and raga dvesha, attachments and aversions in the present. These things deprive us of being with ourselves. Otherwise, we would be with ourselves. We would be happy. Except for these fellows. So again, raga dvesha, how do I deal with? Attachment and aversion, how do I deal with? Both of them arise because of aviveka. Aviveka means what? Not understanding a thing for what it is, understanding things contrary to what they are. The attachment of raga arises towards that which I look upon as a source of my happiness and security. What, in my opinion, is the cause of my happiness and security, there arises attachment for that. I become dependent upon that for my happiness, attachment. But the same token, whatever it is that I look upon as a source of pain or unhappiness becomes a cause of my aversion. Isn't it? So we brand the whole world like this. Either look upon something as a source of happiness or security, or look upon something or someone as a source of insecurity, unhappiness. But understand, this is my personal projection. Is there something called the source of happiness? If something possessed happiness, then it should cause happiness to everybody. But not only it causes happiness only to me, but tomorrow the same thing, again my perception may change and I may no more look upon that as a source of happiness. You see? The raga dveshas are also not fixed. Attachment, they keep varying, changing. So understand that both attachment and aversions are result of aviveka. When you look upon something as a source of happiness, then arises attachment for that. When I look upon something as a source of pain or insecurity, that arises aversion for that. In fact, nothing possesses happiness or unhappiness. There is no happiness or unhappiness in this world. No, Swami, you don't know my neighbor. You don't know my boss. You don't know my spouse. You don't know my this, but no. If anything is a source of happiness, it should be source of happiness to everybody. Is it not so? If the sugar is sweet, it should be sweet for everybody, not only for some person. Sweet in the morning, afternoon, evening, today, tomorrow, for me, for you, then the sweetness is nature. Is there something like that which can cause happiness to everybody at all times, at all places? Nothing. The very thing that causes happiness to me can cause unhappiness to you. Very thing. Riding in a bus in India, my neighbor takes out his bidi and starts smoking, even though it says no smoking, there is a sign. He is in ecstasy, he is enjoying his smoke, and that very smoke comes only to me. That is another problem. And I am in hell at the same time. Same thing can cause happiness to one and unhappiness to another. So there is no such thing as something possessing happiness or unhappiness. It is our projection. Because of not understanding the true nature of things. That's called aviveka. So ragadveshas can be dealt with by viveka. Whenever attachment arises, I should inquire. Oh, that person is very important to me. I can't do without that person. Why? Because give me happiness and security. In what way? If that person gives happiness, it will give happiness to everybody. There are many people who run away from that person also. So, viveka is the method of dealing with raga and dvesha. Lot of work. Lot of work, isn't it? So we should be constantly doing this. While walking, talking, whatever we do, constantly a part of my mind watches what is going on in the other part of the mind and finds a thought called insecure, hurt, then immediately I deal with it. Guilt, deal with it. Attachment, deal with it. Aversion, deal with it. Fear, deal with it. Insecurity, deal with it. Don't let it pass. We'll do it tomorrow. Then it becomes more difficult because then it becomes more intensified. It builds up. So this requires us to be alert and vigilant and also wise. Wise in what sense? To understand what causes hurt and how to neutralize it. What causes guilt? How to neutralize that. What causes attachment? How to neutralize that. What causes aversion? How to neutralize that. What causes fear? How to neutralize that. What causes anxiety? How to neutralize that. We should know this. They say when you get angry, then repeat Ram, 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 Ram. That's all stuff, that is all palliative stuff. Get angry, then have a punching bag, and if it helps you, that's okay. But it won't eliminate anger. It can give us only what we call some symptomatic treatment that you may take. Do pranayama, yoga, whatever packages outside world gives you in workshops, that you do. This is not a solution. This is a solution. So this is the work that you have to constantly do in order to be in the present. Because these are the fellows who deny us the benefit of present, which is ourselves, which is limitlessness, wholeness, completeness. Being in the present or living in the present means living in myself, living in wholeness or completeness or happiness. That is our birthright, because that's our swarupa, that's our true nature. And the mind is the one that has to abide. It's not enough that I am complete by nature, my mind has to abide in that completeness. And the mind is distracted by all these factors of past, present and future. So more we deal with that, more settled the mind becomes. More composed the mind becomes. More peaceful the mind becomes. We discover peace within ourselves, peace with our own self. Because we are at war with ourselves. A hurt self I don't like, a guilty self I do not like, a fearful self I do not like, a attached self I do not like this self. which is overcome by attachment, aversion, fear, anxiety, hurt, guilt. That's why I'm unhappy with myself. So that's why we say, I am the source of unhappiness for myself. There's no unhappiness elsewhere. And I have to make myself the source of happiness for myself by slowly dealing with this fact, neutralizing them. It's a lot of work. Swami, we thought that you abide in yourself by knowledge. When this work is done, knowledge is not far away at all. This is 90% work done. Then you listen to Upanishad says you are Brahman, and I can see, yeah, I am Brahman. Right now, even when I am told I am Brahman, mind says, that's what he says. We don't accept it. So my own mind should become favorable to this teaching. The teaching says that you are a complete self. My mind should also rhyme with that, isn't it? The teacher says you are a complete mind, says I don't accept it. Then that teaching doesn't penetrate. Meaning that when the mind is not prepared to receive the teaching favorably, the teaching does not impact me. Not that we should wait for some day for teaching, that should continue anyway. The listening to scripture, because it gives us clearer understanding. What the scriptures do is more insights are given to us. This clear understanding is given to us, which become the tool for which to apply in our life. So understanding that we get during Shravanam or listening to a teacher should not remain at that level only, but we should be always prepared and willing and ready for putting that into practice. Meaning translating, what does it mean to me? Today we heard all this. This is still a general talk. What does it mean, that guilt, what does it mean to me? Oh, this is guilt. This is hurt. This is raga. This is dvesha. This is fear. This is anxiety. We have to identify those things. When we identify, the next is what is the way to neutralize it. Again, we bring that teaching back. In this situation, what does that pratipaksha bhavana mean? And then doing it. So 3 things are there. One is, several things. Number 1 is to be alert and being conscious about our mind, so that whenever any of these feelings or impulses arise in the mind, we become aware of that. We identify that this is called hurt, this is called guilt, this is called attachment, this is called aversion, this is called fear, this is jealousy, etc. And then, next is preparedness to deal with it there and then with pratipaksha bhavana. What is the pratipaksha bhavana? In this case, what bhavana or attitude should I deliberately entertain right now? And then bringing that attitude into the mind and neutralizing it. So this is all sadhana. This is the Vedantic sadhana. In this, all the other sadhanas help. Whatever prayers you are doing, japa you are doing, puja you do, meditate, certainly that all has to be done. All that gives also the preparedness to the mind to do this work. But merely japa and prayers are not enough if this is not done. That is why we find many people doing prayers for so many years, there is no change in them. So, when somebody told my uncle, hey, uncle, you are now retired, so start going to temple. He says, your auntie is going to temple for 35 years. What change has happened in her? Because this has to be done, meaning that we have to slowly, work with our mind and transform it. We have to become our own therapist. for which the tools, the Vedanta provides the tools. And there is no therapy equal to this, let alone better than this. All therapies base their treatment on giving reality to all these ragadveshas. Only Vedanta teaches that that's not real. They think that fear is your nature. No, Vedanta says no. So therapy that you may receive it. I mean, I don't care. But what I'm saying is there is no solution. It's only a can of worms. You are like this because your mother is like that. Mother is like because her mother was like that. And they just go round and round. So this is how we undertake this process. Living in present is not an overnight thing. It is an effort, a conscious effort, conscious, intelligent effort, which takes place, and thus we keep on healing ourselves. So Vedanta is meant to heal ourselves. This hurt and guilt and ragadvesh, all of these are different kinds of wounds that cause pain to us. There are all sorts of pain. And they alone are the source of pain. The world only becomes instrumental by sprinkling salt. So we think that they are responsible, or God is responsible, or prarabdha is responsible, or karma is responsible. Doesn't matter, we have to assign responsibility somewhere. But that should not give us the excuse of not doing what we need to do. So with that, I think we'll conclude our simple 2 talks of living in the present. You want to take a break or want to continue? I think so. No. So I already have some questions. And you may write down your questions if they have occurred in the meantime. You may do that and then give it to me so that we will answer those questions one by one.